Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Well, I guess I should talk about that. I know this video is basically pointless because, well, they confirmed it, they said it themselves. But this is mainly to express some of my disappointment and respond to the arguments that people have had that are weirdly adamant on not wanting any in-game content. I got some points to go through, so let's just hop right in. If you don't like the type of in-game content, then you don't have to do it. I've seen many people say that they don't want this game to be too grindy or the usual, I'm a dad of 27 or work 20 hours a day, and I can only play for 5 nanoseconds a day. I mean, okay, understandable, if you don't have the time to do the in-game content, then the in-game content just isn't for you. If you don't have the time or interest to do it, then don't, question mark? A lot of people always tell others that if they don't like the casual events or long world quests, that they don't have to do them or they should just play a different game. Which sure, but we're doing it because we love the game and see its potential. And would love to play it more, so that the casuals have something to play and the in-game players have something to play as well. So I can use the same logic for these people as well. If you've already been barely doing Spiral Abyss, playing the story at your own pace and been logging in casually to do events, then how is adding an in-game activity suddenly going to make the game too grinding and forcing you to have to rush through everything? If you play how you already are playing right now, the game will be the same way for you and you'll still love it. It's mainly for the players who have the interest and or time to do it and want to challenge themselves in a different way besides Spiral Abyss, because that hasn't received any huge updates or changes since launch. Another opinion that I see that I think is very goofy gooberish is that they think adding in-game content means less content for the casual players and thinking that they'll just be left behind, which is honestly just wrong. Y'all, it does not have to be one or the other in this case. Adding just one new in-game activity doesn't suddenly mean you lose out on your world quest, events, and exploration. All that stuff is not going to disappear. It would be for the people who want the artifacts, talents, and team comps to be tested in some way and actually mean something, so that both sides of the player base will be happy. Casuals get exploring, story, and hangout events, and in-game players get Spiral Abyss and, well, something else, but they're not gonna add it. There's a lot of RPG elements like stats, crit rate, crit damage, attack, artifacts, talent levels, team comps, elemental reactions, elemental resonances. There's a lot of things centered around combat, and even in that same interview, they said building characters is the fun of the game. So building characters and having all those combat-based elements and not having any more combat besides the Spiral Abyss is really weird and discouraging. Let me bring it to myself for a second. For example, I hate hangouts. I think they are very boring and a waste of my time and I don't want to do them. So I don't. However, I know there are a lot of people who actually love the hangout events with their favorite characters. So I won't get mad if they add more of them, since many people like it. I just won't really care if they come out with more. So I don't know why some aren't having the same idea for in-game players. I'd say there's a good 15 to 20% of the community, and maybe even more, that would love at least one more in-game repeatable game mode, so we can have fun together. Casuals get what they want, in-game players get what they want, and they can just keep developing the game. I've heard a lot of people talk about fear of missing out, but honestly, the whole entire game is based around fear of missing out. Events are one of the biggest FOMO things to do in this game, because they're here for like 2 weeks and then they're gone. But when the in-game players ask for something permanent that will never go away, suddenly people don't want to miss out. You know, not the story-based events that enrich and focus on a character's backstory, not the 4-star weapons that have never came back but are still really good today that people can't get, but the permanent combat-based endgame gives you FOMO? I don't understand, because there's not going to be much that you're going to be missing out on. Events, resin, and daily commissions are already permagems and materials that go away if you don't log in every day, since some of them also rolls out slowly over a number of days. Adding permanent repeatable content means a constant flow of rewards at all times. You'll never have to worry about the rewards going away, because they will only refresh, meaning that you'll just get even more. The entire game already has so many FOMO based systems implemented into the game, but they say they don't want to give players anxiety, but already have a lot of time gated content. And also, you've heard the memes before, people freaking out over having the resin capped out, being worried that they might not get a character because they already missed out on one day of their commissions or didn't do an event. People making regret posts saying that they wish they did the event or were there for the event with a 4-star weapon that's still used by a lot of characters today. So already giving the player base some anxiety and FOMO. Now let's talk some ideas for in-game because they already have a lot they could make into in-game. Because they've done them before, but then they just took them out. I think adding more floors to the Spiral Abyss is that good of an idea, since people are already a little bit burnt out on that. So how about the stuff they brought in and then took out? Random procedural generated dungeon that gives debuffs the further you go. Labyrinth Warriors event. Enemy waves that then limit the characters you can use and gets harder as you go. The combat section of the Perilous Trail event. Boss rushes, Hypostasis Symphony, and Legend of the Vagabond Sword. And those events actually added new abilities and moves to the bosses to make it even more unique and fun. And in those events you can increase or decrease the difficulty if you wanted to. And a lot of the rewards you could get for making it super easy, and there was just a little bit more that you can get for making it harder. A Horde mode, which could be any of the multiple events that they brought out throughout the years. I'm just asking for at least one of these game modes to become permanent, scale in difficulty, and give a little bit of rewards. Now I think a lot of the rewards should be very early on, so a lot of people can get the rewards very easily, so they don't feel like they have to be forced to do it, or feel like that it's pay to win. And then near the middle and further on, just change the rewards to like maybe some Mora, crystals, and XP books at harder areas. Not too much, but also not too little. Maybe after hitting some certain points, you get like 50,000 Mora, 20 crystals, or like 10 XP books for your characters. So that you feel like you're actually getting resources over time. Cause trust me, just one activity that would be permanent and scale in difficulty would make us in-game players hit the gritty in our pants. We really aren't asking for all too much. Now, of course, if you still feel like in-game content shouldn't be added to Genshin, please tell me where you disagree in the comments so I can see your reasoning. Cause I feel like Hoyoverse's reason that will give some players anxiety is not really a good reason because they already have FOMO and anxiety systems in the game. If you really get so nervous in Spiral Abyss that you feel like your heart's racing super duper fast, or your characters aren't built good enough, I feel like it's up to you to really fix that and play or don't play things that make you feel better. Cause trust me, I do get a little nervous too when the countdown's at 10 seconds left before I can get 3 stars and there's still one more enemy left. And maybe the in-game content should have a timer and have it just where you kill enemies and have debuffs or enemies that do a lot of damage near the hardest stages of the game, to where you can actually easily die and it really starts to test your skills. But for earlier on, have it be pretty easy to where people can still get the rewards that they want. I just feel like people's anxiety shouldn't have to compromise the stability of the game for it. Also, if you play the game casually, that's completely fine. Casuals can like stuff and in-game players can like stuff. Just I've seen a lot of people coming into this conversation with a I'm right, you're wrong attitude and just completely disagreeing with in-game. Also, I still like Genshin. All build characters I like, all still pull for new characters. I'm just pretty disappointed with having that as a reason to not add in-game. I feel like adding repeatable combat-based in-game content would only increase the stability of the game. And yes, I know it's been 2 years, they haven't added anything, so I've had little to no expectations and honestly expected this answer. But it just sucks actually having them confirm it and say it, you know? It's like coming and expecting nothing, yet still getting disappointed. So there you go, that is my take on the in-game situation. There's other stuff in that article that I disagree with, but this is just the main big thing. I just feel like they should add at least one more in-game game mode to this game. But of course, they already confirmed that they're not really going to. And I've heard that the CN community really agreed with the devs and defended them. And that's mainly who they listen to as well. So it really seems like the uproar that's been happening is not going to change a thing. So anyway, that's all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be pointing for Sino very soon, so subscribe if you're interested in that. I'm going to be very worried because I still want Nahida in the next update too, so we'll see how the polls go. Well, that's all for me. Let me know if you disagree or agree in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye bye.